Hi there. I'm here with Dilshan Boange with his book Textual Tapestry, and I'm just gonna ask him. Actually, I'm really interested in finding out the background of this book and about his writing history and from where did all that come from. So I'm just gonna ask him a few questions. So I'll go behind the camera and we'll start on. I'm really curious about your book Textual Tapestry. And I would like to know how did you start it and why did you start it? What birthed it?
What I would say is that to begin with, textual tapestry was a concept that I sort of thought of when I was trying to figure out certain connections between different pieces of writing I'd done. And initially, of course, there was no concept built on how to get these works to put them together as one work as such. Mm-hmm. So what I thought was, now I was doing short stories, writing short stories and certain narrative prose and poetry. And what happened was I started seeing connections between them in terms of theme and imagery. Now, to be very honest, there was no textual tapestry planned, when I first started making an effort to become a writer. But gradually what happened was I started to figure out ways by which I could sort of get this writing out to a readership, and getting a publisher is not an easy thing. I'm sure it's the same scenario all over, not just Sri Lanka. And when a good friend of mine, he tweets as Stinker777, he suggested to me that I do a blog to begin with. This was a couple of years ago, and to start sort of putting my writing on that, and just to see what the responses would be like. And we didn't actually really have a title for the blog, but what I thought was it would be different categories of writing: the narrative prose, the poetry, and the short stories, right? And what I thought was, now how could I come up with a title for this blog that would sort of do justice to the whole idea in this? And what I came up with textual tapestry. And if you read the author's note in the book Textual Tapestry, it sort of gives out the whole layout of how it started. And of course, my friend, he saw the whole concept in that title and said, "That's great, go ahead with it." And what happened was, of course, the whole content of Textual Tapestry you find in the book was not completed at the time. It was building up bit by bit. And when I decided finally that yes, I do have sufficient amount of writings here, short stories, narrative prose, and of course poetry, to build into one comprehensive work, was when I got the manuscript done and started looking for publishers. Excuse me. And so what happened was, Textual Tapestry was accepted by Samaranayaka publishers, and it was in fact their very first publication as in terms of literature in Sri Lanka. And the purpose, I would say, is, in one sense, what I did was I experimented with a number of techniques in writing based on certain, of course, knowledge I gained in university studying English literature and literary theory. So what I'm hoping is, in one way, the reader will see these different techniques, and I'm sort of hoping that people will sort of catch on to Textual Tapestry as a work that in a way demonstrates different forms and ways of writing to explore creative writing and expression in terms of writing. So that's the idea and how it came about, and sort of the purpose behind Textual.
How long it took for you to do this, and how did you compile the missing gaps?
The work as a whole, I would say, took me, if you take from from amongst the different pieces here, the oldest one would be the short story Climbing the Mango Tree. That was written in 2003. But what I must explain is that the original script of Climbing the Mango Tree was sort of edited a bit, and it was, I wouldn't say it was the very first draft that is in this book. So it was edited a bit here and there. But in terms of the very first piece that's in this book, it was written in 2003. So now it's 2007. It's 2011. So you can see sort of how it gradually built up. But of course, it's based on different different experiences, and also a lot depended on, during my university days, about the knowledge I gained on literary theory and literary techniques. So that sort of influenced the more later additions to the tapestry. So I'd say in a way you could even see a small evolution of sorts, I suppose, in terms of how the narrative structures work in this book. So I'd say, yeah. Now, for example, if I may for a moment just tell you a bit about the work that came out subsequently, which is Whole Isle Jake's. It's a collection of 3 works of fiction. Of course, it did not take, considering it, Textual Tapestry's first piece was written in 2003. The second book, of course, it was planned in a very different way, and the structures were planned, and it was done in a more planned, scheduled sort of way, I would say, once the concept was built. But in terms of Textual Tapestry, it was about 2008, I'd say, when I realized that there were these different sort of categories that I could bring together, but still I realized there was more to do, that it was not yet a complete work. So it was actually in 2010 that I really was able to, as you said, fill the gaps and realize what would be missing to sort of recur the themes in certain books that were not complemented with what was existing. So I'd say that would be the time span. 2003 the first piece was written, and 2010 it was sort of all brought together.
Okay.